Electrocast.
Why wait to see if you'll get something you like this Valentine's Day when you can go to BlueNile.com and find something you'll love? Whether you're looking to treat yourself to a little winter sparkle or show a galentine how much you appreciate them, Blue Nile offers a wide selection of high-quality designs, expert guidance, and free 30-day returns for the ultimate peace of mind. You can even design your own jewelry. Right now, save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
On this episode of Missing the Point, we check in on the Boston Red Sox at the All-Star break. We'll look back at some of our predictions from the preseason, and we'll look ahead to where the team is now. We'll also look ahead towards the trading deadline and see if and what moves the Red Sox could make to make sure this team remains a contender. And we'll also take a look at a retooled Red Sox minor league system. This is Missing the Point, episode 72. But it's all relative.
The last time all of us sat down and talked about the Red Sox, me, Joe, and Rayshawn went in on this team. We decided that this team had no chance, that they weren't going anywhere this year. It was going to be a repeat of last year. My God, how we were wrong. Since then, the Red Sox officially have the best record in the American League. Lead the AL East by 4.5 games over the Devil Rays, or the Rays as they're known now. Blue Jays, 10.5 over the Yankees, which is something that's just, I have to say, is the most beautiful sight in the world to me. Being a 10.5 game over the Yankees at any point in my life is just something that I like to mark down on calendars. Like, that's how big of a deal that is. Do you guys think this team is real? Is this going to continue the rest of the season? Is the AL East already over? Mike.
Okay, so I think just to underscore your point of how out on the Red Sox season we were before it started, I elected to not be on that show because I said, I have nothing to talk about with this team. They've done nothing. Like, why am I going to talk about them? Turns out I was wrong. They are, and we should know this by now, right? I mean, it seems like every year since, what has it been, 2011? Every other year, they are a really good team. You know, you have 2013, 2018, they won the World Series. Last year was an abomination of a baseball season. I think we know that. But I want to tell you right now that I think that the Red Sox are the real deal. I really do. Like, every fiber in my being, every 17, 16-year-old Mike Red Sox fan is like, dude, you know a good team when you see it. This is it. But 2011 has, like, it really burned me bad. So, yes, to this point, they are the best team. I think that they are a real team. However, can the hitting sustain? Can the hitting sustain, and can the pitching, can the ERA and maybe just the innings pitch, can that sustain through the dog days of summer? Maybe. Let me just say this. They have a real chance to go. Let's say that they just go just a tick above 500 through middle of August. Yeah, I'm in. Fully in. Because I think the way that they played so far to this point, they just have a lot of fight to them. You know what I mean? Like, they never give up. And that sounds cliche, but you never feel like this team is out of it. So to this point, yeah, I think it's a legitimate team. I think right now, yeah, you know, they have a 96.2% chance to make the playoffs. We've seen percentages like that before with the Red Sox and them not make it. So yeah, I guess I'm in, but I'm tentative about it.
Joe, I'm going to go to you next on the preface of 1 point. So I said to you beginning of the season, when you're like, Red Sox stink. It's like, listen, man, teams don't win 10 games in a row when they stink. There's something that happens when, if you're a bad baseball team, you're a baseball guy like me, you don't rack off wins like that if you're a bad baseball team. Have they finally come around now that we've ended up with 2 10-game winning streaks in the same
I've come
season?
around on these guys long before this. I was wrong. You know, I was expecting
hangover of the Ron Roenicke Red Sox. 2020 was more of a throwaway season for the Boston Red Sox than it was for the New England Patriots. And I believe that they both threw away the 2020 season. The Red Sox did it in much more dramatic fashion, which oddly enough got them a really good draft pick this year. And they're going to get a really good Vanderbilt pitcher. And that's you know what? It's so funny because I cannot stand, you all know how I feel about John Henry. Cannot stand him. But the way they manage this coming into 2021, now that we see it, hindsight is 2020, they may have done themselves the biggest favor of all. To answer your question of are they the real deal? Not yet, because their bullpen stinks. And not all the way through, but Matt Barnes is really the only solid pitcher in the bullpen. To me right now, I've watched them blow some leads against teams that they shouldn't be blowing leads against. And not necessarily losing the games, but having a tough time where then the offense has to come back and pick them up.
You think that Matt Barnes is better than Garrett Whitlock?
Yeah, but Whitlock hasn't been up consistently enough. He's been up and down. I think that's the only thing that's giving me that makes me say it's Matt Barnes, because they've been sending. I also don't think Chaim Bloom thought that his team was going to be as good as it is. I really don't. I think Garrett Whitlock was Whitlock the Rule 5 guy? Did we have that?
Yeah.
Rule 5 guy.
Rule 5
so he
Yanks.
hasn't been up and down because he can't go down, because if he goes down, he goes back to the Yankees. Maybe because Barnes has been used more. Let me change that. I don't know who I was thinking of, but maybe Barnes because he's been used more. But besides the two of them, Mike, no. I mean, who else has been effective in there? Sawamura has been slightly effective, but he even got hit the other day. So I mean, the point is that the two biggest points of contention with this team right now are the depth. Let's put it this way: the depth of the bullpen and their defense. Those have been the two biggest issues that they have had. Their offense has been great. Their starting pitching has been above average. And what they need to do is they don't need to sell. They need to go out and bring a couple arms in and maybe a couple defensive replacements. Who do you get rid of? I don't know. What do you get rid of? Who knows? That's Chaim's job. But why would we have a show if we didn't project, right? But 54-32, Bobby. So yeah, I've come around on these guys. It's a fun product to watch. It's a fun team to watch, and the man at the cornerstone of all of their success, while John Henry would say it's him, it is 100% Alex Cora. 100% Alex Cora. I think he is the best thing that has happened to this franchise in a long time. And I know, he had his issues in Houston. He cheated. I'm not going to say there's cheaters all over baseball, that we've been seeing it this year, and I'm sure we're going to get into that. But yeah, they're the real deal. But as Mike said, I think what we're going to see is, as they get through the dog days of summer, as they get deeper into the season after the All-Star break, we've seen so many Red Sox teams that have started off well. They've put us in this position where we're like, yep, this is the team that goes to the World Series and brings the trophy home. And I'm not ready to say that yet, because they need to get through August.
I completely agree that, you see these Red Sox teams blow it all the time. The thing that's different about this team, and it feels a lot like a couple of years ago we won the World Series, is the fact when they just find a way to win games. There's some games where they have no business to win the game. The other night, for example, where they ended up winning 1-0, in a game where they could not touch. I don't even remember who was on the mound. They couldn't touch whoever was on the mound. Yeah, Romo. Well, no, it was the starting pitcher. So it was 1-0, but they couldn't touch this dude. But somehow they still found a way to win that game. The other night, they came back twice. Won 5-4 against the Angels. Barnes, heart attack knife. He gets out of it, and they still come back and win that game. Hosing dudes at the plate when the game's on the line. It's just play after play. When it comes down to it, these dudes just come
because they want
through.
to play.
And it just seems like it just seems like one of those teams to me. So, Ray, I got to ask you, man. What do you think? Is this the real deal?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it, right? So I think at the end of that show that we did on the season preview, I think I squeezed it at the end because we bashed them the whole show. But I said, wouldn't it be funny if they became the best team in Boston? And we kind of laughed it off, but it was like, that's essentially what they've become, right? Because it just felt like, okay, Cora's coming back. You're going to invest in JD. I know how I feel about JD Martinez, that's my guy, and invested, Rafael Devers. So when you're getting those guys that respond to Cora, that alone was going to change the outlook of this team, right? And I think I actually said it to Joe on that show. I said they could be like the 0-2 Red Sox. So Joe was like, okay, so that means that 2 years from being 2 away. And that still could very well be the case, right? That team won 93 games. And it looks like the 0-2 team, but this to me feels more like the 2013 team, not 2018. Because 2018, they were the best from start to finish. Like they cleaned house. They were beating everybody on a regular basis. Like, and you can think about moments. You think about the Toronto game. You think about the Minnesota game. You think about the Yankee game, 16. Like, so there's so many moments you think about 2018, but this really reminds me of 2013. So you got, the Mike Carpenter of the world, Johnny Gomes, the Shane Victorinos. Like, that's what this team reminds me of. And yeah, people made it an insult that it was Tampa North, but that's what it's become, so to speak. This outfield is insane. We could talk all day one about the infield defense, but that outfield it's a joke how good. Like, you do not run on these guys. Do not run. You look like me out there running on this team. It's ridiculous. Like, do not run on this outfield. Renfroe, hell, even JD got one in Oakland the other night. Like, are you kidding me? That play in the 10th inning where he comes and he charges in, he gets it, and the guy was out by a mile still. Don't run on this team. This outfit has not lost a step, and I thought that was going to be blasphemous to say after losing JBJ, losing Benintendi, and Betts. Which was the best outfield in baseball that I've seen in a long time. But these guys have not missed a beat in the outfield. The infield, that's different. So maybe we need a Doug Minkiewicz. Maybe we need some type of that type of trade. But so I guess maybe Dahlbeck needs to go. Maybe Chavis can go. But that's who you trade because you're not trading Devers or Bogart. So it has to be Dahlbeck and Chavis that go. Or Dennis Santana.
This ain't Coco Crisp or Johnny Damon throwing you out from the outfield. Like, these are gunners.
But Coco will make some great catches though.
Yeah, I meant throwing you out at home.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these are actual gunners that will literally put it on a dime and make you regret tagging up. And I think that's something that we've been waiting for a very long time here in Boston.
Alex Verdugo has as many outfield assists as Mookie Betts and JBJ combined.
Crazy.
More. I'm sorry, not as many. More.
You guys talked about Shane Bloom a lot, and that's kind of where I want to go here. I really agree that he's kind of been the mastermind behind this so far. Getting what he did back from Mookie, listen, we ripped him for that deal. But to bring in Verdugo, who to me should have been an all-star, to bring in guys like Hunter Renfroe, who have been raking, to bring in my absolute favorite player on the Red Sox right now, Kiki fucking Hernandez, into Boston. Like, this dude has taken what he even quoted at the beginning of this year as a quote-unquote bridge year for the Red Sox to a team that's on pace to win 100 games. If you told me the Red Sox were on pace to win 100 games at the beginning of the season without Chris Sale coming back before July, I would have laughed in your face. So it's amazing to me what Chaim has actually done. Do you guys think right now what Chaim is doing, is it as impressive or close to impressive as to what Dombrowski built or to what Theo built? I'm saying the team that he put around. Is it something where you look at this team and you're like, okay, this dude can actually build a baseball team. He can put them together.
Isn't
with
it
the best.
Chaim Bloom?
It is. I was gonna say.
What did I say? Chaim Bloom, Chaim Bloom, whatever.
Yes,
it does
matter. What's wrong with you?
Chaim Bloom.
Say his name.
Say his name.
I guess my question would be, I mean, I think if they win the championship, yes, and then he's on that path, right? But right now, isn't this like doesn't this show you that Dombrowski didn't leave us isn't as in bad shape as we thought he did?
Sure he did.
Well, he left us in terrible shape. He stripped the farm system. He left the major league team with a great core where Chaim Bloom took that core, but that's what Dombrowski is known for. He did the same thing in Detroit, and he's going to do the same thing. Where the hell did he go after he left here? He's going to do the same thing there. He comes in, he strips the farm system, and he goes out and gets the dudes to come in and win you a championship, which he did do. But then when Chaim Bloom, someone who is much more in line with a Theo Epstein mentality, he's even more Moneyball, especially coming from Tampa. He is closer to Billy Beane than Theo Epstein is to Billy Beane. That's a good comparison for baseball fans because we all know that the Red Sox wanted Moneyball. But when it comes to this team, Chaim Bloom is doing the exact opposite of what Dave Dombrowski did with Dave Dombrowski's groceries, right, Mike? So let's use that analogy. Dave Dombrowski went out, he bought the groceries, and Chaim Bloom is saying, well, let me chop up these veggies. Let me cook this meat and let me, put a good meal on the table. But he's not only putting a good meal on the table, he's meal planning for the next week or 2 weeks, because he's bringing in really good prospects by pulling, we call it the Belichick, selling off guys as they're either getting to the point where they're going to command a lot of money, or they're coming towards the end of the height of their career. Like a JBJ, he's coming towards the end of the height of his career, where a guy like, not that he can't be consistent wherever he goes, he's playing well, but then you have Mookie Betts, who was commanding a lot of money, and Mookie Betts is still very good. He's still playing well in LA.
Won a championship, exactly. But because Chaim Bloom offloaded those guys, he was able to bring in some prospects, and they went out and also took some of the money from those deals and made the guys like Alex Verdugo, not made, because Alex Verdugo is clearly a player that can play, but we all heard all the bad things about Alex Verdugo when he got here. Now all of a sudden we see he can play baseball, and we don't care anymore. But that's what they're doing. But you're right. In partly you are right, Mike, because some of these guys were Red Sox prospects already. So, but I think what they're doing is they're finding the right prospects. And I know that it's all about the players, and the role of a manager is to make sure you don't lose games for your baseball team, because that's what we've seen that in the past here in Boston, right? Grady Little, where the overall role of a manager is to not lose games. They're not going to win you a lot of games, but it's their job to not lose games. And that's what Alex Cora does. Alex Cora is absolutely phenomenal at motivating and getting these guys to play. And you, Bobby and Ray, you brought up the names of Bobby Dalbec, but even look at Christian Vasquez and what he became under the tutelage of Alex Cora. And I know I'm going on a rant again here, but Mike, I disagree. I think Dave Dombrowski left this organization exactly how he left the Detroit Tigers. But the difference is, and this is where I say something nice about John Henry goes out and finds the right guy to hire to come in and fix the problem. And he did that. When he hired Theo Epstein, he fixed a problem, an 86-year-old problem. When he hired Dave Dombrowski, he fixed a problem. It was a failing team that needed to be turned around, that had run its course with its previous manager. And then obviously Bobby Valentine didn't work out. And then Dave Dombrowski stopped working. So he had to go out and find a guy to fix the problem. And he did that with Chaim Bloom. I think a lot of their success this year is one attributed to Cora, and two contributed to.
Yeah, I love it, man. I just, like I said, Bloom has been cool.
Say his name, Rayshawn.
Bloom. That's right. Say his name. Chaim Bloom.
One more time.
Chaim Bloom. Let's say it together, kids. Chaim Bloom.
Chaim Bloom.
Oh, yeah, Chaim Bloom. So well, he's bloomed the Red Sox.
I have a speech impediment in case anyone was wondering out there.
That's cool, and it's okay. We're here to support you. No, listen, man. The Mookie Betts trade was going to be scrutinized regardless, because anyone that it could have been any one of the five of us to do it, or four of us. Sorry, excuse me, because the fifth person's not on here. Sorry, but could have been any one of the four of us that made that trade, and it would have been like, oh. What is Buchanan doing? What is Malkin doing? What is Kelly doing? Like, what is Marcangelo doing? Why would you trade the cornerstone, right? And I was hot about it, right? But I remember, Lou Maloney talking about, Verdugo was the key piece coming back. And, obviously, and, we talked about this with Dan Shaughnessy. We talked about it with Steve Perrault, so you can find those episodes in the show notes. But yeah, like they were like that, Mike. No, but yeah, he's been great, man. And I'm proud of what Bloom has done. I mean, I don't think you asked about the first half MVP yet. My first half MVP is definitely, to me, it's actually Bloom. We put together that team. He brought in the pieces that are working, and we didn't think it was going to work. But Renfroe has come back and done well. And they're finding guys on short money, right? Kike Hernandez, short money. It was like, oh, I can hear Tony Matt. You gave him 14 million. Are you kidding me? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing down in Fenway? Yep. And it was just like, they sit there, and I get it. Their job is to turn heel. I understand. But I'm like, it definitely had a good series against us in 2018 with the Dodgers. So as a utility guy, as our Luis Soto, here's the first rabbit hole of the night, that name drop, right? He could be someone that was going to be a utility guy. He's been phenomenal here in Boston. So, I mean, let's say Chaim Bloom has pushed the right buttons, and I'm excited to see what they do going forward.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Like I said, I do think Chaim Bloom, you like that? Got it right. I do think Chaim Bloom is the main reason, or one of the main reasons that we see this team having the success they're having this year. And part of that to me is that he kept two of the biggest pieces and made sure that these two guys were going to be staples in this town. Or I guess three guys, you're going to include JD as well. So JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, and Rafael Devers. These three guys, man, they're just absolute studs, all three of them. To me, and I said this to you guys at the beginning of the season, the disrespect Xander Bogaerts gets around baseball to me is blasphemy. I know now he's the starting shortstop for the AL. Awesome. Finally being recognized. But coming into this season, I saw multiple top 10 lists that didn't even have this dude in the top, not the top 5, not the top 10 shortstops in baseball. Here he is on June 6, 2021, and he is hitting. So he's hitting 321, 385 OBP, 533 slugging percentage, 13 home runs from the shortstop position, which those numbers from that position is above and beyond what you expect. Then you have Devers, 21 home runs already. We're not even at the All-Star break. 290, 581 slugging, 938 OPS. These two dudes, man, I love these two guys being the staples of this team. What do you got? Do you guys actually think? Because to me, I think Xander has a chance at MVP. I really do. The way that he's playing and the way he carries this team, I think that there is an outside shot that he finishes top 3 and possibly has a chance to win MVP. Joe, is that a crazy thought by me, or do you think that's an actual possibility?
No, not if they stay on this pace, not if they make the playoffs and go on a deep run. He's having a great season. I mean, he's got 97 hits, 25 doubles, 13 home runs, 48 RBI already. I mean, sure, Devers is having an outstanding season. I mean, if it weren't for his below average defensive play at third, which I think will come around. I mean, he's only 24. He's been with this team since he was before he could legally drink in the United States. I don't see why it couldn't be either one of those, but they need to continue on. But there's a lot of electric players in baseball. That's the biggest thing to me, is that there's so many electric players. This season's been fun. Like, I've really had a lot of fun watching the season. Maybe it's because I've had more time. Maybe it's because YouTube TV, friend of the show, and Nesson, friend of the show, couldn't come up with a deal to keep Nesson on YouTube TV. That's fine. I mean, I'll write a letter, but honestly, it's kind of been fun because I've been able to watch other baseball other than the Red Sox, which has been a blast. But yeah, Xander Bogaerts is phenomenal. He's outstanding. And you said it, Bobby, like, they found a way to offload Mookie, who we all know, and we have to acknowledge on the show, there was question of him wanting to stay in Boston for whatever reason. We don't need to go into that, but there was question that he wanted to stay in Boston. Jackie Bradley Jr. fit the mold defensively. I think that he had run his course as well. Xander Bogaerts and Rafi Devers have not run their course here in Boston. And another guy that I would feel we would be remiss not to mention, who is not getting as much respect as he deserves this year, is Christian Vasquez, who has been electric behind the plate defensively and offensively. The guy's got 8 stolen bases. Our catcher has 8. He's leading the team with stolen. He's been caught once. And there's some pretty good catchers out there right now too. I mean, the guy, he's a 253 hitter. He's still not he's not going to light the world on fire. But when Christian Vasquez first came up, nobody expected him to reach the Mendoza line. Nobody expected him to hit above 200. Now he's hitting 253 with a 300 OBP, a 345 slugging percentage. It's not great. He's got 4 home runs, 12 doubles. This is something else. And here I go on a rant again about the game. The game itself is not about home runs. It's not about launch angle. It's about getting runners on base and moving them effectively around to score runs. That's all that matters at the end of the day, is scoring runs. And a guy like Christian Vasquez produces runs. He does.
Get him in the National League.
So to that point though, so that's one of the main reasons why I do like this Red Sox team is because that's what they do, and the rest of the league does not do that. The Red Sox hit the ball, they put the ball in play, and they actually force the issues, unlike the rest of the league who hits home runs and strikes out. So that is one piece that the Red Sox do stand out. Mike, I'm going to go to you here. The more I'm thinking about it, I have to ask you, is Xander even the MVP of the Red Sox? I'm expecting something different from you here. What do you think?
He really should be. He's so good this year. If he keeps his pace out, right? If he can post 26 home runs, 100 RBIs, and maintain a 321 batting average, and his level of play on the defensive side of the ball stays what it is, I don't know that you can find another person on the team that's more valuable. I think Devers he's finally transitioned into that power hitter that we thought he was going to be, right? So, like, if everything multiplies out, he has 42 home runs, 142 RBIs. That's awesome. That's amazing. And I think, I could be wrong, I think Devers' ceiling is higher than Bogarts are offensively. But I think right now Bogarts is the guy that you need to be like to be the guy, like just to make sure that everything goes the right way. But also, I don't know if this is going to come up later, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that someone earlier in the show mentioned Alex Cora and his impact. Look no further than JD Martinez. Just don't look any further than that, because in JD's first 2 years with the Red Sox, when Alex Cora was at the helm, 2018, 43 home runs, 130 RBIs. 2019, 36 home runs, 105 RBIs. He's not there last year, COVID, all of that, right? 54 games, 7 home runs, 27 RBIs, and 213 batting average. This year is already a bounce back year. He's hitting almost 299. So we'll call it 300 just for argument's sake. 17 home runs and 56 RBIs. There is this, and the only variable there is Alex Cora, right? So I think my comeback player of the year for the Red Sox right now is JD Martinez. But in terms of your original question, Bobby, Bogarts is the MVP right now, and he has to be, right? He has to be that guy. He has to be the standard bearer for the Red Sox right now. But I do think that Devers' ceiling offensively is higher.
Rayshawn, I know you're chomping at the bit over there, man. Tell me.
Yeah, this is the Mike Marcangelo real hour over here. I see. No, keep drinking over there. No, listen, you already said the answer, Mike. But the answer is not the comeback player. He's the MVP, and that's J.D. Martinez. that guy, he's just special. Like he from day one, he got obviously last year's a wash. Like you said, we could cancel last year. Just like the whole world was canceled essentially last year. JD is the best hitter on this team when he's on. I still firmly believe that. I understand that obviously Devers is younger. I feel like Devers is the Red Sox version of Tatum. Like he's only 21. Like he's going to be 21 for like forever. I know he's 24, but he'll be 21 until he retires, right? Plus he also looks 21. He'll look 21 at 30. He's just one of those guys. But no, JD Martinez, he's to me he's the best right-handed hitter we've had since Manny, right? And it's just he can hit everywhere. I mean, right center, right field, left center. If you need a double, he gets that. Like he just always gets the hit that you need. Like he never does too much up there. And that, to me, he allows Bogarts and Devers to do what they do because they kind of pitch around him. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, I'll take JD, all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. I'm a JD guy. I need to give me a JD jersey because I'm a fan. You guys know this. I've been repping JD since we've been doing the show. Like I love JD Martinez. So to me, he's the guy. Yeah. So I got to go with JD. I can't say that enough.
I mean, I just feel like when it comes down, you can't exemplify enough the numbers from a shortstop. When it comes to a shortstop, I don't know why. It's almost like the quarterback in football. When that guy's putting up big numbers for you, it means so much more to your team to me than a DH does or than a second baseman and a third base.
David Ortiz is rolling over right now.
It's like Nomar in 98, right? When he hit 372. Like that was the standard.
Not 99, but
sorry, 99.
Yeah.
But like,
well, hang on. I do have to say something. So, Bobby, are you saying that the designated hitter position is overrated?
Don't put words in my mouth. Don't do that. Don't do
Wait,
that.
Is that what you're
Don't
saying?
do that.
I'm just saying. Is that what you're saying?
He did not say that.
No, I'm just saying when it comes to I'm not saying it's overrated. All right, I would never say that because nothing can be overrated when what you're rating it against is under 200 batting average. So, anyways.
No, listen, everyone. Hey, listen, Joe. Everyone's not going to be John Lester the other night. He got a nice little knock in Washington. Everyone's not going to be DeGrom. You know, we've had the Mike Hampton argument before. Everyone's not going to be those guys.
Red Sox pitchers that Garrett Richards had a two.
He did a double. You're right. He did hit a double. You're right.
When there's 8 news stories a year about pitchers getting big hits, and you share all 8 of those.
Bobby, it wouldn't be a big story if it was just happening every day and pitchers were hitting because they're supposed to.
Pitchers hitting, that's great. Pitchers who rake, like, listen to that show. Joe's going to be coming out with that show sooner rather than later. But no, man, listen, the DH is not lessened. It's not weakened. It's still a valuable position. I know you didn't bring this up, but this is just on my mind. I'll forget to say it because we talked about who we may need on the team. I don't know what his numbers are, but I'm just a fan of his game. If Josh Bell can get his way into the Red Sox uniform, he's in Washington right now. I'd be here for it. Josh Bell has been an all-star in Pittsburgh. I know he finally left Pittsburgh, I think, after last year, if I'm not mistaken. But if we can get Josh Bell over Dahlbeck, I'll take it. I don't know what he is defensively, but he sure as hell can mash it. So if you can find a way to get Josh Bell here as a first baseman, I'll take it.
Right now, Ray, you're not. I mean, you see, Bobby Dahlbeck's a weird one, and not to derail this here, Bobby, but Dahlbeck a weird case because he's batting .217. But he's got nine doubles, 3 triples, and 10 home runs with 34 RBI. Like, he's not a schlub at the plate. His problem is he's defensively insufficient. And he's one of those guys that needs to be replaced because they don't have a true first baseman.
I'm going to drop a name for you, and this is going to go way back, so we're going to go rabbit hole for a second. Brian Dahlbeck. That's who Dahlbeck reminds me of. I don't know if it's because of the name or what it is, but it's, you know what I mean? He's a guy where he's going to get big hits, and at certain points you're going to be like, whoa, man, this guy's something. But, like, he's not, you know what I mean? Like, over a course of a season, he's going to have, like, 15 of those moments, but there's a lot of moments in between where you're like, oh, why did you swing at that pitch? Like, what are you doing, man? Like
a Mark Bellhorn.
Right.
Mark Bellhorn won a ring.
That's a great segue, Ray. Thank you. So we're going to go right into the trade deadline here. So I got to know. So Ray mentioned a guy that he wants. I have to throw someone out there, guys, that I've been seeing rumors about, and I just think it would be so juicy and so nice and such an awesome story, man. Like, just think about it. Red Sox trade for former Boston Red Sox, Mr. Heat, coming out of the bullpen in the 8th inning, Daniel Bard. All right. This guy has had a resurgence this year. He is throwing absolute smoke again this year. Daniel Bard the other night touched 101 and 102 consecutive pitches for like the first time in years. And he's throwing strikes. He's throwing hard. And he plays for the Rockies, who are obviously out of contention. So, all that being said, I know we went through a lot with this guy. Would you welcome him back?
Well, you wouldn't have to give anything up for him. I mean, sure, you could send them a bag of seeds and a bucket of balls, and they'd probably hand them over because they're, you know, Colorado is so interesting because they actually have a middle of the road minor league system. They just can never put it together at the major league level or haven't been able to consistently. Yeah, I mean, the guy he's 36 years old. He had a long hiatus from baseball. And we know as you heard Craig's there when Bobby mentioned Daniel Bard, Daniel Bard is one of Craig's guys. And I got to go along with it and say, yeah, bring him in. He's got 12 saves, a 4.08 ERA, which is a little high, but he's playing for the Rockies. Like they're not a very good team. But what's he going to be better than? And what's he going to be worse than in your bullpen? Because people have floated the name Craig Kimbrell out there too. So Bobby, I'm going to turn it back around on you and say, would you rather have Craig Kimbrell from the Cubs or would you rather have Daniel Bard from the Rockies?
Bring them both. I mean, bring them both. I think the only thing against Kimbrell I have is, listen, Barnes is an all-star this year. I don't know if he'd do that to him.
You don't put Kimbrell in the closer spot.
So that's like bringing someone in that you know is going to be a backup quarterback, but like they could take your spot if you fuck it up.
Would it be like having a job and then your boss bringing someone else in and telling them that they're going to take over part of your role?
Show notes.
Show notes.
Yeah, show notes, right? Yeah,
No, I'm just.
No, I mean, it would be, but I'm trying to win.
Yeah, no, all right. Yeah, I could get behind that. We'll bring Kimbrel back too. We'll bring back Bard. We'll bring back Kimbrel.
And then Kimbrel has a .59 ERA.
Oh yeah, bring his ass back. But no, just I got to bring up the Josh Bell stuff. So it's not phenomenal, but it is better than Dahlbeck. So 247 this year, 12 home runs, 39 runs better than. So slight upgrade then. And I just found out a fun fact. Him and I have the same birthday, so it was amazing why I like him. Plus, we both have dreads too, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, bring Josh Bell, bring Kimbrel, bring Bard. Whoever's going to help this team be successful, do that, please. We need that. So Mike just sit here and cry about 2011. Like, we automatically know these guys are going to be Josh Beckett and.
Well, we don't know it, but we've experienced it.
Yeah, but that's the only team. You act like that's the only team that faltered like that. Like, it wasn't like 07 didn't falter like that.
78 right.
No. I'm talking about because of how that was because of Bucky Denham. I'm saying like because of the clubhouse. That's what I mean. So that 2011 team was the best team in baseball for 4 months. They were 4 or 5 months, and then obviously doing eating chicken and bear amongst other wild shit.
Popeyes, bro.
But yeah, Popeyes. Which I mean, hey, I understand, but I mean,
Popeyes right in Kenmore Square.
It's right there.
So,
yeah, right there, bro.
Friend of the show, Popeyes.
Right next to it.
Oh yeah, friend of the show, right? Yeah, definitely a friend of mine for real. Shit, but
that's sandwich, bro.
Listen, man, I don't know. I'm excited. But yeah, listen, everyone that can help.
Obviously, I think that first base is an issue for the Red Sox. I also think that there are other issues. But when thinking about it, they rank 25th in terms of their leadoff batting, right? So I think you could see a world where Chaim Bloom goes ahead and gets a guy like, the guy that I like is Starling Marte from the Marlins. I think now we have a really good outfield defensively, right? But I think offensively, when you have someone that right now is hitting 291, 6 home runs, 18 RBIs, but I think 50 hits. I think that's what you want. You need to start the game and have your top of the lineup be as good as your middle of the lineup is. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chaim Bloom goes that route, or someone like a Robbie Grossman, right? He needs to address the leadoff role. Now, he needs to do it without selling the future, right? So that's the problem with really trade, like to get like a big name.
I don't agree with that though.
Which part? I said a lot. Which part don't you agree with?
The part that they have to, like, to me, if Kike Hernandez continues what he's been doing, you have it addressed. He's the guy. He's the guy. Put him there. Once again, there's no. We don't need him to be Ricky Henderson. You know what I'm saying? We don't need him to be that. It'd be great, but I mean, guys getting home runs in the first inning. He's getting on base. He's getting better at getting on base, I should say, as of late, since he came back off the DL. So if he's on that trend, you're good. Like I said, they're 2 through 5 as good as anybody in baseball. Verdugo, Martinez, Devers, and Bogarts, like, they're fine in my opinion. But first base has to get addressed immediately, in my opinion, more than the leadoff spot.
I'll throw out a name for you for first base, Ray. Let me know what you think. Carlos Santana, former Indian, current Kansas City Royal. Man can absolutely rake. If you put Carlos Santana into this lineup and you now have a middle of the lineup of Xander, Devers, Carlos Santana, and JD, bro.
And Santana's a switch hitter, right?
I believe so.
Because to me, he would be just like how Victor Martinez was here. And Victor Martinez, the team overall didn't do great with him here, but he's someone, that was going to hit. I mean, I don't think he's going to hit in the 300s like Victor did, but someone that can get you 17 to 20 home runs, can get you 85 to 90 runs batted in. Like, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'd be on that first thing smoking, bring Bobby right to Logan. See you later. Bye.
Just don't give up the farm for a first baseman.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that.
Because you have Tristan down there. He will be ready soon, right? So, just get a short-term fix. And if that's what we all come to this consensus is our biggest need, then do something that gives you a short-term fix but does not compromise the long-term future of that position.
I think you're all setting yourself up for disappointment. This is going to be a very dry trade deadline for the Red Sox this year. Biggest acquisition coming out of that front office on August 1st, or whenever the hell the trade deadline is this year, is we have our biggest addition. It's Chris Sale. No other team in Major League Baseball can add Chris Sale to the deadline. Oh, that's our big addition.
I mean, that's not wrong though. But at the same time, maybe it's a lesser move though. That maybe it's a lesser.
Well, it doesn't need to be
like a brand new starting first baseman at the trade deadline.
Mankiewicz, dude.
Yeah, but you don't need. So to Mike's point, to kind of cover all of it. To Mike's point, the short-term fix is Bobby Dalbec. I mean, if the guy is in the minor leagues, that's going to be ready. If he's in Worcester and he's going to be ready, then fine. All right, Bobby Dalbec with his 217 batting average. I mean, this team has plus 50 wins, and we're in the final week before the All-Star break, which is a traditional All-Star break this year, in a traditional regular season, then it's Bobby Dalbec. And if you want to go out and find that leadoff hitter, the guy that you're going to quote unquote replace is Kike Hernandez, because he's not an everyday guy. Typically, he's done well in that role. Yeah. I'm not saying you're letting him go. You're not letting him go. He's your 10th guy, is what I'm saying. He's your first off the bench replacement, but he's hitting 241. He's got 10 home runs, 17 doubles. Like, everybody is playing well. And this is where I agree with Craig. So I bring that in. Yeah, it's going to be boring because I think Carlos Santana, bringing him in is counterproductive because he's going on 36 years old. Is he a good player? Yes, sure. But that's not the fix for first base if you do have your guy in Worcester. I'm with Craig. I think it's going to be dry. I think Chris Sale will be back. I think Chris Sale will do more damage than he will do good. I really just hope they don't rush him back and they wait until he's actually ready. But yeah, Mike, honestly, I agree with you. I think you find that short fix for first base and you bring in a leadoff guy, but it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be the guy. I mean, I look at these teams and I see guys like Tim Anderson, the shortstop for the White Sox. Like, you're not going to bring in a shortstop. The Mets have Brandon Nimmo. He's a center fielder. You're not going to bring him in because the Mets are playing well. The Twins, you have Max Kepler. He's an outfielder, but I don't think Max Kepler is the answer to bring in here. So I can go through these teams and tell you, yeah, we could bring guy X, Y, and Z in here, but what good is it going to do? So I think we're all in agreement that depth of the bullpen, first base, and a leadoff hitter are the three biggest needs here. And Chris Sale doesn't meet any one of those needs because the starting pitching has been phenomenal. In fact, right now, Chris Sale is the number 6 starter in that lineup, as far as I'm concerned, with how everyone's been pitching. So
Garrett Richards,
I'm okay with that.
You can let Garrett Richards walk. You can let him drop him off at the airport.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They're gonna need it come postseason time. You're gonna need a guy that can go. Someone's gonna get shelled in the first couple of innings. You're gonna need someone. He's gonna have a David Price moment. He's gonna be like, "Oh my God," Garrett. Like, so it's gonna happen. And he'll have the right jacket on. His mustache will be shaven correctly, and it all will be forgiven. So it's all good.
I think come postseason time, you see Chris Sale in the bullpen.
I don't disagree with that.
Fine with me.
Which is fine.
99 Pedro, baby. Sign me up.
How good of how well off are you as a team pitching wise if your 6th option is Chris Sale?
Well, maybe Chris Sale is that, and this is a stretch, but follow me down this path for a second. Maybe Chris Sale is that depth of the bullpen. Maybe he's that long reliever. Maybe he's that guy. Maybe he doesn't come back in a starting role. Yes, he's Chris Sale. He's 27 years old? Like, he's still a kid relatively.
Chris Sale?
But how old
32.
is Chris Sale? Oh, well, all right. He's still a kid relatively. When was his birthday? Is he younger than me? I'm August of 88.
I'll look it up.
What's his birthday? But the fact of the matter is to put, wow, he's 32. He came here when he was 25. I'm with Ray on this one. Like Devers, I was like, oh, wow, he's like 22. He's 24. It's amazing to me. These kids keep getting older and I just stay the same age.
March starting at 89.
Nice.
Okay. So, wow, I'm a year older than Chris.
I didn't know. That's scary.
If he can turn out to be like Schilling in 07, where he was predominantly a reliever when he came back, Schilling was like, that's the dream, right?
Absolutely. So maybe that's where Craig is right in the sense that they're going to say that because they don't need to go out and get pitching. Because if Chris Sale can come back and they can keep him relatively healthy, then they only need to address probably one of those other issues that we talked about. So they're in a good position, hopefully. I just hope it doesn't get to the point where they do what they've done to us most of our lives and our parents' lives and some of our grandparents' lives, where it was just, hey, we're doing really well to the All-Star break, and then we're just going to suck.
It's always August, always with the Red Sox. Like they will outperform past the All-Star break, and then it's that August or September collapse that happens.
We've talked about on previous shows that I thought July 1st was the mark. Now we're saying it's August.
No, it was always right after the All-Star break. Right after. It was immediately after
August.
the All-Star break.
What Ray's saying is a direct call out to me. I actually said Memorial Day. He's right. Like they are a real team. For real. I believe it. But we've just seen, and recently, within the last decade, a real team in Boston that for the Red Sox, they have shown their abilities to play well through July and August and collapse. Now, I'm not saying that
one team.
Well,
one team.
Look at the 2014 Red Sox. Look at the 2015 Red Sox.
They was out of it though. They was out of it. They were that team. Those teams were in it, and Ortiz got hurt. Them teams weren't in it. That 2014, 2015 teams was not that good. They were awful. I'm just saying. And in 2016, they get Porcello, they got Price, and then they got back into the AL East conversation. Just saying. They won the AL East 3 years in a row and won the championship. So
the teams that have played well have historically not done well after the All-Star break. And the teams that have not done well have like middled before the All-Star break, have done well afterwards. So it's a matter of keeping up the pace, right? And throughout a 162 game season, that isn't easy.
I just hope our listeners have learned at this point that nobody moves the goalpost better than us.
Correct.
That's a fact. That's what we do. Now, so to counter off what you guys just said, so to me, what goes against the Red Sox blowing this and them going into the normal Red Sox is their bounce back that they've shown so far this year. Is teams that go in skids where, after they swept the Yankees, I believe they lost like 4 out of 5. Then they went on to win 9 in a row, 10 out of 11, and have been the hottest that they've been all year. So to me, and it showed the same thing at the beginning of the season where they lost the first 3 games, went on to win 10 in a row or 9 in a row, whatever it was. That to me is what sets them apart from those teams is like, even if they do go into a skid, I have complete faith in this team in pulling themselves out of that skid, whether it be a Pavetta having a stop day, whether it be an Evaldi throwing an absolute gem. Like, they just have these guys that when it comes down to it, they will get the job done and they will pull them out of that hellhole that we all know as Red Sox Nation for all those years. So I just feel like that there's,
you got to see them face that adversity first. They haven't faced that adversity yet. They're in the honeymoon phase again. They're on cloud 9. They've had their relationship revitalized with their manager who left for a year. They've brought in a new chief baseball officer, as his official title is, in Chaim Bloom, to rebuild the farm system. They're playing well. They're hitting their stride. This is a honeymoon phase. I don't want to say that I have faith in them to pull themselves out of a hole when they haven't even picked up the shovel yet to start digging the hole.
The thing is they're still being disrespected. Still.
Oh, well, yeah, but there's a reason
still
why.
not getting, right, and they're still not getting that recognition, and that's been what's driving them all year. And they said it from the very beginning, since spring training. Like, we're better than what people think they are, and I don't blame them because, like, listen, this core. I mean, you have 3 guys from the middle of the meat of the lineup that won you a championship. You have pitchers from that championship rotation still on the staff. So it's like, I don't blame them for being like, I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. We're pretty good, and we're going to show you. So, I mean, I just think that this team has it.
Championship DNA, baby. Say it, Bob. It's okay. Championship DNA.
Got to see them lose to see them pull themselves out of that hole. That's all I'm saying.
Houston has smacked them around. They've had some bad losses now. They got smacked 18-4 as well, like by Toronto. They've had some bad losses.
But bad losses and falling into a pit of despair are 2 very different things. I mean, teams are going to have bad losses and not miss a beat. I mean, that happens. Some Sometimes and this isn't excuses. This is just the way the game of baseball is. Sometimes you do have those stop days, Bobby. Sometimes you have those days where you got to go to a sixth starter. Sometimes you have those days where you're playing a doubleheader. You got a getaway day. You've played 6 days in a row. Like those days happen. They happen in baseball, and losses like that are going to happen. But Bobby, the skid you're talking about, and not to beat the dead horse on this topic yet, but already, but what you're talking about is losing 8 of 10. You sit here and talk about them winning 10 of 11 and going on these streaks. That's fine. That's fine. You're right. They play very well when things are going well, but we haven't seen them when things are going poorly. We haven't. We just haven't.
That's the Boston fan in you, though, Joe. What if they never go poorly?
That's what happened in 2018. That's what I'm saying. Like 2018.
That's fine.
I'm with you, though. I'm with you, though. I'm always like, but let's see what happens when they lose 7 out of 10. So what if that never happens?
The last point I'll make on this is, what Red Sox teams don't do that blow late season leads is sweep the New York Yankees twice in the same
They're
season.
bad. Well,
twice.
they're bad.
I don't. Well, I know, but it's really cool to say. So, anyways, the last point I want to make on this show is it's kind of unrelated to how the season's going this year. More about the future of this team, and it kind of touches on a lot of points that we made throughout this show. So recently, a Red Sox prospect was brought up by one of the most legendary managers in baseball as the coach of the Team USA team, and Mike Scioscia, Mr. Jarren Duran. He was compared to the one and only Mike Trout. Mike Scioscia said, quote, Jarren Duran has Mike Trout's focus and desire. Todd Frazier specifically said he's going to be a stud. I said Trout was going to be something, and I'm really thinking the same thing about Duran. So I want to go back to what you guys said earlier, where the additions are within the clubhouse. Don't trade away the farm. Is this guy as good as we think he is? And I want to add another thing onto this. Do we think Heim had an idea of what he had in Duran when he drafted him in 2018, which led him to finally pull that trigger on Mookie? It's a dot that I've been trying to connect for a while, and I obviously can't until Duran is in the majors and making some noise. But do you guys think Duran is as good as he is? Is he coming up this year? And did he have anything to do with that Mookie trade? Ray, we're going to you first.
Yeah, I haven't seen much on Duran. Isn't there another guy named? I think Craig brought him up. Is it Jeter Downs? Is that the other guy?
Jeter Downs was the centerpiece of the Mookie Betts trade. I don't care about Alex Verdugo.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what he actually does, because obviously if that's the guy that we got back in that trade, and I want to see how he performs. But I don't know much on.
Doing really well.
Yeah, no, yeah, good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying I want to see what he does at Fenway, though. So, because it's one thing to kill it in the minor leagues, but, you might falter once you get up to the big leagues. But, yeah, no, like I said, I don't know much about Durant. Hopefully he can perform. I know you guys are looking for Jack Leader, but, yeah, like I said, hopefully that guy can produce. If he's producing in AAA or wherever. He's in Worcester. Is that what Durant? He's in Worcester?
Yeah, Worcester, playing for Team USA
Worcester,
right
hopefully
now.
he's performing, and then, coming to the major league team in September.
Yeah, he didn't go.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Bobby, this is where we play into Mike's narrative, and he'll give us a little smile here. Jarren Duran was drafted by Dave Dombrowski.
Correct. He
was 2018.
Yeah. Also, I think, like, to your original point, though, like, he is the guy. I mean, if you just look at his incremental increases in power, right? This year in Worcester, 15 home runs, 31 RBIs, 284 batting average. If you just look at every other year before that, like he's only played 41 games. Last year he played 82 games and he had 1 home run, 19 RBIs. So he found something, right? So if he can continue to build on that, I think that's a great addition to the Red Sox in the future. I do think the more that you peel back this onion, you will see that my original point, Dombrowski did not leave us in as bad a shape as we thought he did.
So what about the guy they got last year, Blaze Jordan?
Blaze Jordan is still incredibly young. He's not even at rookie ball yet.
Yeah, he's listed as their 10th prospect with a ETA.
Nick York, who we got in the same draft, is hitting like 400 and wherever he's at right now.
So just to go through the prospects right now, and as we talk about Jarren Duran as an outfielder, from MLB.com, Red Sox prospects, This is what gets Craig's blood flowing. Jarren Duran, outfielder. He's 24 years old. The guy that we're talking about that was slated to go to Team USA was drafted by Dave Dombrowski. His estimated time of arrival at the major league level is this year. And same with Jeter Downs, who was brought over in the Mookie trade, which likely if he does come up, I don't know if he'll get to every day, but he would probably play over Marwin Gonzalez at second base at 22 years old. And then the number one prospect in the Red Sox system, Mike, Tristan Casas, first base, whose ETA is next year, 2022. But this kid's playing really well in Worcester as well. And, Mike, I look at the prospects and I see when they were brought here and when they were drafted. And yeah, sure. So Blaze Jordan is 18 years old, as Craig mentioned. He is currently in rookie ball. He's a third baseman. He's a ways off. He's going to be 4 or 5 years. The guy that comes in, as Devers gets a little bit older, gets towards 30, which is weird to say because, Ray, you're right. He's going to be 21 for his entire life. But what's really interesting here is the guys that Chaim Bloom and Dave Dombrowski have brought in fill the positions of need, the right side of the infield, and a leadoff hitter in the outfield, and Craig can speak to these three guys, but I mean, just talking about Tristan Casas, Jeter Downs, and Jarren Duran. You also have Brian Mata, who's a right-handed pitcher at Double-A. He's not expected to come up for 2 more years. So, and then Tanner Houck, who we could see come back up, which I think he should as well. But those 3 guys plus Tanner Houck, really, those guys would maybe not solve, but they would address your issues, and hopefully something can happen. But you got to be methodical about it because you got to bring them up at the right time as to not disturb the peace, if you will.
Oh, I was gonna say you're gonna talk about money. I was like, I don't care about that.
No, they're making nothing. They make peanuts. I mean, you bring them up.
No, I know. I'm talking about the eligibility. I know, in baseball, I think whatever that rule for, what's the word I'm looking for?
Luxury tax.
Yeah, the luxury tax, but also the arbitration, that bullshit. I know that's what Tampa Bay did that shit with Evan Longoria years ago. That man could play. If you could play, listen, I want you up here ASAP. Get up here.
Those guys you just listed, they aren't even my favorite prospects in the Red Sox whole system. You go back down, you look at Brian Bello, who we got as a throw in a deal for I forget who a couple of years ago. He's dominating Double-A right now. The minor, you still got Jay Groom down there in the minor leagues. Who knows if he's ever going to be a guy that you ever see. Noah Song, if he ever gets out of the military, is going to be amazing. Blaze Jordan's still a kid. Matthew Lugo, guys like this, Connor Wong, who's I think on the major league roster right now, who we got in the Mookie Betts trade as well. The farm system looks good. It looks really good. I forgive David Dombrowski of that because he did sign Xander Bogaerts to that very, very delicious
such a
contract.
team-friendly deal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Xander hits the open market now. He gets $30 million a year. Easy. And what is he now, 22, 21?
21, yeah.
21, right? Yeah. So, no, that's a delicious deal.
Xander's like 26.
26?
He'll be 29 in October.
No, not money-wise. I mean, not age-wise, money-wise.
Salary.
Oh, money-wise?
No, salary, he makes 21 a year.
So, yeah, so at that point, guys, before we get into too much predictions, because I know we're going to have a Red Sox show next week, hopefully a little bit of all-star game talk going. We'll talk a little bit more of what we think about the second half and what we think is going to happen. But I want to give you guys your last thoughts. Mike, we'll go to you first.
I have the Red Sox finishing at 95 and 67. I think that's going to be a sweet spot for them. I think that's going to be first. I think they'll win obviously win the division. And I think that if their pitching holds up, I just think in the postseason, good pitching is what prevails. So that needs to happen. But yeah, I think I don't like to Joe's point. I don't know if there's going to be a 7 out of 10 game losing streak or slump for this team. And if there isn't, we can. Yeah, right now we can say, well, how would they come back from it? Well, if they never allow it to happen, that shows strength too, right? So that would be my final prediction for them.
They don't need to win them all. They just need to stay consistent. I don't think they're going to go on a 7 of 10, 8 of 10 losing streak. I don't think it's going to happen, knock on wood. And if it does, I hope that they can pull themselves out of it. I think that you have the right guy managing the team to do that. I think everybody is moving in the right direction. This team is explosive, but they're as a team, they're quietly very good. Their cohesion as a clubhouse is very good. It also helps that the Yankees are bad. And I just say the Yankees because that was a team that I don't think we all expected to be as poor of a ball club as they are right now, to the point where the Yankees fans that I know are calling for Hank Steinbrenner to sell the team, which would be amazing if it was no longer owned by the Steinbrenner family. The Orioles are bad. I think the Blue Jays and Rays are okay. I mean, I love the Blue Jays lineup. I mean, you have so many protege kids in that lineup. You got Kevin Biggio, you have Guerrero Jr., you have Bo Bichette. It's just such a fun lineup to watch. I think the Red Sox do win this division, and I'm coming out. I think I had them finishing close to 500 in the beginning of the season. I'm going to be up around Mike's number. They'll get 95 to 100 wins. They'll be consistent. And if they can, they don't have to do everything. We talk about them bringing up prospects and going out and trading. Listen, make a trade for a B-level guy that's going to help your team. Get Chris Sale right and bring him in here. Bring up those prospects that we think are going to be good, one or two of them. If Jeter Downs and Jarren Duran are the guys, fine. We can fill this out. You can offload some salary at the trade deadline. And like Craig said, it doesn't need to be exciting. It just needs to be the moves that are best for the team. And that's what matters most. But they win this division, and they'll go deep into the playoffs. I'm not going to call them World Series favorites yet because there's a lot of good teams. I mean, there's a lot of good teams. The Giants are playing well in the NL anyway. But in the AL, I mean, Chicago's good. The Rays aren't a bad baseball team. The Indians are playing well. So the Astros have played very well as well. And Bobby, like you said, the Athletics aren't bad either. And the friggin' Seattle Mariners are 5 games above 500. So, this is why this is a fun season. It's real baseball again. And it's fun baseball. And one thing we didn't get into, Bobby, is this whole thing with foreign substances and things on guys' gloves and hands and necks and noses. But besides the point, Craig, insert major league quote here. So, yeah, Bobby, I'm with Mike, and we opened the show with it. They're a much better team than I thought they were going to be.
Right.
Yeah, I'll put a number to it. I think they match the 04 team, and they go 98-64. I just think they have another 10-game streak in them where they're going to catch fire again, pending on them making another. Actually, no, even if they don't make a trade, I just feel like someone else is going to get hot that we didn't expect to get hot. So whether that's Dalbec or unless he gets traded, I'm a Chavis guy. So I want to see him again. I was enjoying what he did in 2019. I felt like if he had played the whole year, he would have been Rookie of the Year. But I'll get off that soapbox because we're 2 years removed from that. But yeah, I'll go 98-64. And I'll go a step further. I think Joe was being kind and being diplomatic to the rest of the American League. I won't be. I don't fear anyone else besides Houston. We'll beat everybody else. I'm sorry. Chicago doesn't scare me. Tampa Bay don't scare me. Oakland doesn't scare me. It's only Houston. So if that's the case, you're looking at your American League champions, coming soon. So.
Yeah, man. So I'll wrap it up there because you just took the words right out of my mouth, man. To me, the American League, the Astros are the only team that even comes close to comparing to what the Red Sox have. And I don't think that they're at where the Red Sox have with their lineup, with the Red Sox depth, their pitching. I think the Red Sox are better. The NL is a different story. NL is really good. The Dodgers, Padres, lots of teams in the NL. So once we get to the World Series, I think it would be a different story altogether. But I agree, man. I don't see any roadblocks in the way for the Red Sox in the American League. The way they're playing, I don't see anyone in this league that can take them in a 7-game series. Astros would be a tough series, though. But at that point, I'm the real BK, Bob Kelly. We'll be back next week, talk some more Red Sox with you guys. For Rayshawn, for Joe, Mike, and Craig, we're out, guys. Later.
If you're a working professional wondering what's next for your career, you've come to the right place. Whether you're looking for a promotion, growth, or a potential career transition, look no further. With over 30 years working in a variety of industries, I share my insider knowledge with those ready to get ahead on Career Advancement with Craig Ansell. Tune in to get your strategies for success.
Electricast. Welcome to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing, where we harmonise your mind, body and soul. I'm Amanda, your sound therapy expert.
And I'm Stephen, the curious explorer uncovering the mysteries of sound.
Together we explore vibrations, frequencies and the power of sound therapy and tuning forks.
Discover ancient wisdom, reduce stress and tune into a healthier life. Subscribe to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing today.
Electricast.